Cars is just one of those movies that everyone knows of and nearly everyone has seen. You might have watched it once, or you might have been like me and watched it so many times to the point where you can't keep count anymore. Nowadays, when we think of the movie Cars 1, a lot of us love it the most out of the three, and we see it as the most memorable. But what if I told you when this movie first came out, people did not feel the same as they do now? Many people felt like it was just a huge commercial for toy cars, and another majority of people just felt like it wasn't Pixar's best work. And it's funny now, because you can look at the Cars franchise now. It's definitely much more loved than hated. I feel like as kids, Cars was a lot of people's childhood, and I can relate. I had a lot of the games, the movies, and plenty of toys. I never had anything take over my childhood like how the Cars franchise did. I couldn't stop watching it, and I never got bored of it. And now that I look back, I really see why I love the movie so much. It was filled with an incredible story from start to finish. Let's remember that the movies that Pixar was releasing around this era was absolutely phenomenal. We had Toy Story, we had Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, and The Incredibles. They were releasing bangers after bangers. And then when Cars got released, a lot of people thought that they were going to see a movie that was going to have the same pacing and effect that the other movies did. But instead, we got a bit of a slower paced story. A real detailed story. About a race car that fell out of its transportation truck in the middle of nowhere. Many people were honestly just expecting an hour and a half of racing. Cool cars and just scenes that would always make us jump out of our seats. But it wasn't that. Instead, a majority of this movie was spent in a tiny forgotten town named Radiator Springs. And that is one of the reasons why this movie works so well. Radiator Springs is up there with the most beautiful things that Pixar has ever made. The old neon lights that give it that old aesthetic atmosphere, Flo's V8 Cafe, Luigi's Tire Shop, and Ramon's Body Shop. You had a beautiful community alongside the mountains surrounding the town. It felt peaceful and it really hit home for me. It's weird because it's fictional, but a part of me really did wish I could visit it. It just seemed like a place that you'd want to go for a couple-day road trip. Maybe some of us even went to somewhere similar to it. It's a place where it's filled with great people, everyone enjoying each other's company. And as a young racer, I really think that's what Lightning needed. At the beginning of Cars, you can really see Lightning's ego on display. He isn't someone that you'd want to root for, and he was kind of a calmer version of Chick Hicks. McQueen didn't care about anyone or anything. He didn't have any proper friends or anything worth caring for. He simply just had one goal and one thing on his mind, to just get the Piston Cup. And that is one of the reasons as to why his character growth is so satisfying to watch. Because within the end of this movie, we see him letting go, when he could have won what he wanted most, the Piston Cup, just to simply let a legend, Strip Weathers, finish his last ever race. As a kid, it really bothered me that he didn't just finish the race. But now that I look back, he went from being someone who was selfish to selfless. That's growth. He went from not having much to having a community that loves him, a best friend and mater, and overall being happy while still being at the top of his game. At the start of the movie, he saw everyone as just a temporary figure. His pit crew, he can easily find another one. His sponsors, that doesn't really mean much to him, it's just a paycheck. And his friends, he simply didn't really value anyone like that. At first, when Lightning met Mater, he couldn't tolerate him. Mater was annoying and McQueen just saw him as a burden. He was always following McQueen around, no matter how frustrated he would get. But one thing about Mater was he was always himself. He never changed. He didn't care that Lightning was one of the best racers in the world. He didn't care about his name or fame. Mater was simply just not a materialistic person. He just wanted a friend that maybe he could build a connection with. And by the end of the movie, that's what happened. Mater became McQueen's best friend. Because McQueen realized that your life really can change when you just have a good friend to be with. And then Sally came into the picture. Their relationship never felt like it was something that could have been forced. It was natural. And McQueen needed that type of person that could show him that life is just more than trophies and sponsorships and being on top of the world. Because everyone has a time limit. Eventually McQueen's engine won't be able to keep up anymore. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. He needed to see that life has other things to offer. And what a great way to realize it by being introduced to Radiator Springs. Lightning started understanding that maybe just taking a step back while still being an amazing racer maybe wasn't going to hold him back after all. And that is just one of the few great things about this movie. Now let's talk about an absolute legend, Doc Hudson. In my opinion, I really think he is one of the greatest Pixar characters ever, not just in the Cars universe. He isn't just that cliche mentor that we see in movies where they're trying to teach the rookie what to do and what not to do. It's someone that has already lived the dream that Lightning pushes for so badly. He knows where the fame can take you. He knows how to maintain your skill. He knows all these little tips and tricks about racing. Lightning needed that person. He needed that figure because if he didn't have Doc Hudson with him, who knows where his career could have went. He might have gotten too carried away by the fame or not wanting to train as hard enough. Most importantly, Doc Hudson went from being one of the most cheered racers ever and then disappearing because he simply can't race as much anymore. That truly is a character that can help Lightning on his path to be a great racer. Without Doc Hudson, I really don't know where Lightning's career could have went. Moving on towards animation. If someone told you that this movie was released in 2006, I guarantee much people wouldn't believe it. And I bet during the time when the movie was released, people were in shock at how the movie looked. The reflections, the paint, the beautiful sunsets, and the atmosphere of these places. Pixar really put all their effort into this movie. And even with today's standards, I believe that this movie could be released today and still do ridiculous numbers. Moving back towards something I mentioned in the beginning of the video was people claiming that this movie was made to just sell toys. And you know what? Sure, an insane amount of toys got sold, but I really don't see how that can make a movie seem bad, or just make the movie seem like a money grab. There's a reason as to why so many people bought these toys, because they wanted to bring home a little piece of what made them so entertained and happy. I will always love this movie because, as I said previously, when I think about my childhood, this movie is one of the first things that come to my mind. It was a seriously major part of my life as a kid. I'm that same kid that loved the entire car franchise, now an adult talking about my opinion online because I still think it's so great. Nostalgia definitely has its part, but I don't think nostalgia alone can make me love a movie for 20 years. What can make me love a movie for so long is great writing, loving characters, and memorable villains. Cars didn't go into the same path as Finding Nemo or Monsters Inc. It wasn't trying to have a major plot twist or be one of the funniest movies ever. It was a message that can be directed towards anyone. To slow down. If you're going too fast in life, you need to take a step back or just stand still for a second and see what you have around you. And to not lose those things that you have around you. The people, the environment, and so on. Winning doesn't mean you have everything. Losing can also be a lesson to learn not to make that same mistake again. Because if we're going to look at where Lightning was going to go, had he never not landed in Radiator Springs, he would have kept doing his thing, winning more races and becoming more popular, and at the end, when time catches him, what is he going to have? He's not going to have that community. He's not going to have any memories be made. His entire life would have just been wake up, fuel up, race, sleep, repeat. And that's not healthy. And sure, in your prime years of life, that seems like the dream. Being an all-time athlete and never being forgotten about. But at the end, who are you gonna have next to you? Once again, the message that this movie displays is truly one of a kind for all types of audiences. Now that I've grown up and matured, I really do realize the beautiful message behind this movie. And it's amazing that the amount of effort they put in on just a kid's movie. The Cars franchise really earned its spot to be engraved in everyone's memory. And I will forever love it. And that's why whenever I think of being a kid, I think about Cars. And thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. And if you liked this movie or if you didn't, comment down below what you think. I'll try my absolute hardest to reply to you.